I can't work at that company. My grandson had left for the induction ceremony but returned home in just 30 minutes. As a child born premature and frail, he had overcome many hardships and finally landed a job at a major corporation. However, at the ceremony, he encountered the company president's daughter, who had bullied him in middle school. My name is Debbie Hansen. I'm 75 years old. Officially, I'm the chairperson of a company that produces next-generation semiconductor materials. Originally a small-town workshop, this business was started by my late husband. It began as a small factory that produced limited quantities with local craftsmen. But it expanded gradually as we focused on technological innovation and quality improvement, eventually becoming a global corporation providing next-generation semiconductor materials. My husband passed away 5 years ago, and now my son has taken over as the president. Initially, he was reluctant to take the role. I'm better suited to working on the factory floor making parts. I think you'd be better as president, Mom. But I'm already 70 years old, and sooner or later, you'll have to take over. We ended up reluctantly passing the presidency back and forth. I considered promoting someone from our long-serving employees, but they were all craftsmen at heart, and none seemed right for the position. My late husband was also not good at dealing with external affairs. I wonder if being a craftsman runs in the family? Eventually, I took on the position of chairperson to support my son, and he settled into the role of president. Over time, he grew into it and, thanks to his wife's support, he began relying less on me. Nowadays, my pleasures are taking care of our cat and watching my grandson grow. Despite having worked desperately with my husband to expand the business, he left for the afterlife, leaving me behind. You've gotten old too, huh? I reminisce about the past while petting our cat, Loki. It was my grandson, Kevin, who had just started elementary school, who brought Loki home as a kitten. Can I keep it if I take good care of it? He had asked. His parents were hesitant, but my husband and I, being soft on our grandson, agreed. Kevin really took good care of the kitten, and Loki became very attached to him. Kevin was born premature, and it was uncertain if he would grow well due to his small size. We could only watch him from outside the incubator, and prayed that he would grow up without any issues. When he was finally discharged from the hospital, we were overjoyed. Although he was not very robust, often falling ill. Yet, it was adorable to see him going to school with his backpack, despite his small stature. When he wanted to keep the cat he found after school, refusing him was out of the question. He's so small and cute, I said as Kevin held the kitten. Will he grow up okay? Kevin asked worriedly. Of course, you were very small when you were born too, but you grew up just fine. I reassured him. Growing up healthy, that was a wish shared by our whole family. Kevin wasn't very sturdy even after starting elementary school, often catching colds which then turned into bronchitis, causing him to miss school. However, he was very bright. Even when he missed school, he would read textbooks, solve practice problems, and read books at home. Perhaps he enjoyed imagining himself traveling through space, or battling villains in his stories because he couldn't run around outside like other kids. His grades were excellent, almost as if his intelligence compensated for his frail body. Wishing he could be less brilliant and more healthy might have been a luxurious worry. In middle school, Kevin decided he wanted to strengthen his body by joining a sports club. He initially wanted to join the judo club, but we all opposed that, not wanting to see our grandson getting thrown around and coming home bruised. We suggested tennis instead. A more individual-paced sport that wouldn't burden his teammates. Kevin agreed, and my husband and I happily provided him with a racket and shoes. I've been physically weak since I was little and joined this club hoping to get healthier. I might cause some trouble, but please bear with me. Kevin greeted his new club members. The coach, seniors, and other new members were very welcoming. Although Kevin was probably treated a bit like the underdog. Everyone except Megan Irving was supportive. Megan was a classmate of Kevin's. According to him, she was the daughter of a company president. Did well academically, was good at sports, and always had a group of followers. Ah, she's popular, then? I remarked. No, not really. Those girls just stick around because she treats them to things. And gives them presents. She's really awful. Kevin's friend, Sean, commented. Kevin had made friends with Sean in middle school. They were in the same class and both belonged to the tennis club. Unlike Kevin, Sean was tall and robust, the picture of health. Gentle Kevin and outgoing Sean, although different in personality, were very good friends. That girl, Megan, targets Kevin and harasses him. What? Why would she? No one in the family had heard such things from Kevin. He wasn't the type to be disliked or attacked by others. Megan can't beat Kevin in test scores. Sean explained her relentless character. Even so, to harass. She hides his shoes during club activities. Hits tennis balls far away on purpose to make Kevin fetch them. And sometimes pretends to miss and hits her serves directly at him. This was something I couldn't overlook. I'll go to the school and complain. No, maybe I should go directly to her parents. I was furious. Please don't, Grandma. I'm fine, really. If you do that, I'd be too embarrassed to go to school. Kevin stopped me, and I held back, realizing children have their own ways of handling things. The burden of the tennis club. A boy who's good at studies but clumsy in sports is trash. A poor kid from a small-town factory. Apparently, Megan and her group of girls would say such things audibly enough for Kevin to hear, even outside club time. At that time, our family's workshop was still small. Just when next-generation semiconductor materials were starting to gain market demand. The building and factory were still old and small, and from the outside, it might have looked like a poor workshop. But for someone to look down on others just because she's a company president's daughter was unthinkable. Although Kevin asked us to remain silent, it was infuriating. Despite everything, Kevin continued to work hard, occasionally missing club activities due to poor health. But his academic performance remained top of his class. Megan Irving, the president's daughter, was evidently frustrated by this. When Kevin moved to a different class in the second year of middle school, we were relieved. Sean continued to be in the same class, and both Kevin and I were happy. However, Kevin still had to face Megan in the tennis club. Once, when he found his hidden shoes, the laces were all cut. These are important shoes my grandma bought for me. Why would you do something like this? Kevin confronted her. What? You have proof or something? I understand that a pair of shoes is a big deal for a poor person, she sneered back. There was no proof. Perhaps Megan had commanded her followers to do it. It's harder to deal with such an evil-natured person than the harassment itself, Kevin admitted for the first time, sounding defeated. I was worried he might develop a distrust of women because of this. Kevin became classmates with Megan Irving again in third grade. And the harassment in the classroom resumed. Since he was in a different class from Sean. My family and I did not find out about this until much later. Before tests, someone would hide Kevin's notes. During a science experiment, someone broke his equipment, preventing him from proceeding with the experiment. Above all, the backbiting and slander on social media severely hurt Kevin's heart. Some kids spread baseless rumors just for fun, even if they don't mean any harm. Despite this, Kevin continued with the tennis club until his summer retirement, maintaining his grades throughout. However, the stress eventually took its toll, already not the most robust. Kevin fell ill with acute nephritis just before high school entrance exams due to a cold, which forced him into hospitalization. He missed both the exams and his middle school graduation. Our whole family regretted not acting sooner to help him. But Kevin himself seemed surprisingly unaffected. "It's okay. I can take the exam next year. With all this time to study, maybe I'll aim for a higher-ranked school," he said with a laugh. True to his word, Kevin passed the entrance exam for a better high school the following year. He proved to be stronger than I had ever imagined. High school life seemed enjoyable for him. He joined the tennis club again, and even participated in matches, though he mostly lost in the first round. We celebrated his first match win with a family gathering. Although Sean went to a different high school, he remained close with Kevin and came to celebrate with him. Life's so much less stressful without Megan Irving around. I wanted to punch her when you were hospitalized. Megan had been delighted when Kevin was hospitalized, peeking during the graduation ceremony with taunts like, "You couldn't even take the exam, right? Serves you right, you're definitely a middle school dropout now. It's good you didn't hit her. If that had ruined your chances for further education, I'd have felt even worse. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Let's stop talking about her. Yeah. I don't even want to remember her, and hopefully, we'll never see her again." With that, Kevin's trials seemed to have ended, or so everyone thought. When college application season arrived, Kevin mentioned, "I'm thinking of going to MIT to study engineering. It could help with our family business in the future." The university was renowned for its research in semiconductor technology. "That's great to hear, but remember, you're free to choose whatever path you like." I and the rest of the family insisted. "This is what I love. I want to study semiconductor technology to help expand our factory," Kevin replied, his eyes shining with determination. My husband was bedridden at the time, but hearing this from Kevin brought him great joy. "Our factory is in safe hands," he had said. He passed away before hearing of his college acceptance. But his last days were peaceful, watched over by our family. Kevin thrived in college, even finding a lovely girlfriend through Sean's girlfriend. And they often went on double dates. Recently, he's become much healthier, hardly ever catching colds. In his senior year, I asked him, "Kevin, do you plan to work at our factory right after you graduate? I think it might be better for you to work at another company first, to broaden your experience as a working adult." "Yeah, I've been thinking that too. I'd feel too sheltered if I stayed with the family business right away." Kevin agreed with a laugh. Kevin, always at the top of his class, would likely be welcomed at any company. Then, on a spring morning, he left for the induction ceremony at a well-known electronic components manufacturer in our local area. However, Kevin returned home just 30 minutes after he had left, looking shocked and angry. "Kevin? What happened? What about the induction ceremony?" Surprised by his upset demeanor, I asked. And he silently pulled out a name tag that read something unbelievable. Middle school dropout incompetent. What's this? A name tag? Given to me by Ms. Megan Irving. What? It turns out she's the daughter of the president of the company I joined. According to Kevin, Megan was now working in the HR department of that company, responsible for managing and training new employees. And it was her duty to distribute name tags. I was shocked to see your name on the list of new employees. I work in HR here, Megan had said with a smirk, handing over the name tag in an envelope. Nice to see you again. Hearing that, he said it brought back all the unpleasant memories from middle school in an instant. Everything just went dark when I looked inside the envelope and saw this name tag. I just couldn't bring myself to attend the ceremony. Kevin spoke with evident distress. Was Megan still holding a grudge because Kevin had outperformed her academically? After all the harassment in middle school, which had led to Kevin's illness and delayed his education, the label middle school dropout incompetent was clearly just another act of spite. A look at the employee list would show that Kevin was neither a middle school dropout nor incompetent. Perhaps that was what fueled Megan's jealousy even more. I said I should work at another company for a while. I never imagined such a terrible coincidence. It's not your fault, Grandma. But I can't work at that company. Of course, I thought. Who knows what kind of harassment he would face there? I decided to act immediately, determined not to fail to protect Kevin again. I grabbed my smartphone and called the president of the company Kevin was supposed to join. Hello, Mr. President? Ah, Mrs. Hanson. Thank you for your help. What can I do for you today? My grandson attended your company's induction ceremony earlier. Yes, he joined your company, thank you. Well, about that, he received a name tag from your HR department. That reads middle school dropout incompetent. What? Is this how your company welcomes new employees? If that's the corporate culture at your company, I may need to reconsider our relationship. What? Wait a minute, please. The $35 million contract we discussed the other day, I'm returning it to the drawing board. I stated firmly. The contract involved supplying next-generation semiconductor materials from our company for use in their new products, expected to significantly enhance their competitive edge in the market due to our cutting-edge technology. Surely there must be some mistake. We have no such employees who would do such a thing. Are you suggesting my grandson is lying? No, not at all. We'll investigate immediately. Could you please wait a moment? The name tag was handed out by Ms. Megan Irving from HR, you know? President Irving. What? Before talking about training employees, perhaps you should have corrected your daughter's education first. I could hear the president trying desperately to say something on the other end of the phone, but I unilaterally hung up. Surprise spread across Kevin's eyes. Grandma, you didn't have to do that. I think Kevin was worried that my actions might have jeopardized a $35 million contract. It's okay. There are plenty of other companies that want to do business with us. I will do anything to protect your effort and pride. I made the decision on my own, but I believe Kevin's parents would feel the same way. A few hours later, I received a call from my son at the factory. It seems that President Irving and his daughter Megan Irving had come to visit. I was at home, just behind the factory, so I asked them to come around to the house. I hadn't told my son and his wife about the incident yet. Kevin had gone up to his room, likely not wanting to see Megan's face. I decided to confront President Irving alone. I am truly sorry for what my daughter has done. The president apologized deeply, but his daughter stood by with a sullen attitude, thinking about how this girl had tormented my dear grandson made my anger resurface. "Aren't you going to apologize?" prompted by her father. She said with no sincerity, "I'm very sorry." "May I ask why you did such a thing?" "It was nothing. I just saw the name of a middle school classmate on the new employee list and wanted to play a little prank." I was astounded she could say such a thing. However, President Irving seemed to believe her. "Well, it was a prank, not commendable, but she is reflecting on it, so please, let's proceed with the contract as planned." It was clear she wasn't really reflecting. The president then said, "I understand you love your grandson, but business is a different matter. Besides, I heard that you had retired from the field." It seemed he thought I was making unreasonable demands out of affection for my grandson. "Understood. May I have a little time to think?" I managed to say calmly, though I was thinking of pursuing this thoroughly. "Thank you very much." President Irving pleaded and left with his daughter, leaving behind some sweets. Can you believe it? Megan Irving? That night, Sean, who had come to celebrate Kevin's new job, exclaimed in shock, "I thought we'd never see her again, but look at this. She hasn't changed at all, still acting like less than a middle schooler." Seeing the name tag handed to Kevin at the induction ceremony, Sean couldn't hide his anger. That president doesn't know what his daughter did back in middle school. Now that it's come to this, I'm determined to take decisive action, I said, and Sean, as I hoped, replied, "I'll help too. We need to catch her." "No, both of you, it's okay. Don't go overboard because of me." Kevin tried to stop us, but Sean and I said, "Kevin, being nice is one of your best traits, but being nice alone won't get you through life." Exactly. If we let this go, who knows who else she might harm. No, she's definitely caused trouble at her company as well. Convinced by us, Kevin seemed to make up his mind. Okay. I have a private web diary from middle school that might serve as evidence. The diary Kevin showed us was a detailed record of those times. It contained even worse incidents than those Sean had told us about. And reading it brought tears to my eyes. I can't forgive her. Sean was shaking with anger. Evidence of Megan Irving's middle school bullying of Kevin quickly accumulated. Testimonies from tennis club members and classmates were gathered by Sean. Even the girls who had been Megan's followers, who secretly disliked her, were now willing to speak openly about the past. Sean diligently recorded their statements on video, along with Kevin's hospital records from the time and the recent name tag incident. As well as Kevin's diary, we had ample evidence. I made an appointment with President Irving and visited the company. "Have you reconsidered?" Greeted with a smile by the president, I showed him the evidence I had brought. As his face turned pale, I said, "These are the actions your daughter took against my grandson during middle school. Because of this, my grandson fell ill and delayed his advancement by a year." The president made an internal call and summoned his daughter to his office. "Megan, what have you done?" he yelled as she entered the room, looking bewildered. Upon seeing me, she seemed to understand the situation. "Is there anything else?" Her attitude was defiant to the extreme. "Listen. There is evidence of what you did in middle school. What would you do if you were sued?" "What are you talking about, Dad? Those minor pranks from so long ago are well past the statute of limitations." It appeared that the daughter was more knowledgeable about the law than her father. Indeed, it would be difficult to legally pursue matters after so much time had passed. However, the president's daughter seemed to have forgotten that. I was not just some old lady who came here out of affection for her grandson. Then, we will no longer be doing business with your company. Are you okay with that? I informed him of my decision, and the president slumped in resignation. Subsequently, our company contracted with a competitor of President Irving's company to supply the semiconductor materials we had intended for them. After losing access to our materials, Irving's company turned to foreign materials and faced numerous defects in their products, severely damaging their reputation and causing their stock prices to plummet. Conversely, the company we began supplying received high praise for their new products, marking a stark contrast in fortunes. After this incident, President Irving fired his daughter but, out of parental affection, helped her secure a position at a subcontractor. To make matters worse, an article titled, "Astonishing Daughter of a Major Company's President" was published online. Sean, who now worked at a publishing company, wrote the article using the information gathered during the evidence collection. He obtained permissions from the tennis club members and classmates, and even posted edited videos of their testimonials. While the company and real names were omitted, internet users quickly identified them. The numerous accounts of bullying resonated with others who had suffered similar experiences. The 35 million incident became a topic of discussion among industry insiders, further tarnishing President Irving's company's reputation. Sean continued his investigation, obtaining additional disclosures from people connected to the company where Megan had worked. As I had suspected, she had been a bully at the company as well, exploiting her position in HR and her status as the president's daughter to mistreat colleagues and superiors. This article went viral, and even Megan's photo ended up online. Her new workplace was identified, leading to relentless online attacks. Overwhelmed, her new employer dismissed her. Even Megan, tough as she was, suffered greatly and eventually secluded herself at home. She's supposedly seeing a psychiatrist now. But unless her personality changes, I doubt it'll help. She's planning to flee overseas, but the internet is the same everywhere. Sean told me this after receiving praise from his editor for the article. Only Kevin seemed sympathetic. The internet is scary. It can change a person's fate just like that. What are you talking about? Didn't that woman change your fate too? She got what she deserved. Yeah, maybe. I hope reading that article makes people realize if you do terrible things to others, it comes back to you, and maybe it will reduce the suffering of others who are still experiencing such hardships. Kevin was always kind. His advancement being delayed by a year and his initial employment opportunity disrupted were indeed events that could have derailed his destiny. But Kevin had persevered, attending a higher-ranked high school and finding a new job on his own, despite my offer to introduce him to related companies. The company I ended up joining is smaller than the one I initially had, but the president is very passionate. It's a great place, he said, his eyes sparkling. Today, we were set to celebrate Kevin's employment again. This time with his girlfriend and Sean's girlfriend at a fancy French restaurant I had booked, saying, "You're working now, so it's an experience to celebrate at a nice place." As Kevin headed out, I called out to him, "No matter the hardships or challenges, overcoming them with your own efforts. Kevin, I'm proud of you." Kevin turned around and smiled shyly.